little more power. What I'm looking for is a little slack in that line on the north side. Make sure I'm countering the push of the wind and the current. Still don't have enough slack here. It's because I'm going the wrong way. All right, now we get a little slack. That should do. Now let's go see what we can get done here on the bow. We'll do the bow line next. Leave that door open. We'll do the starboard last to make sure we can hold the boat until the last minute. We're going to try to maybe go into another campsite when we get to the place we're going today. All right, got just a little bit of slack there, so it seems to be holding just fine. It's always a delicate balance when you have wind and current working, and especially if the wind isn't steady. Seems to be fairly gentle this morning and steady, so I don't think we're working against that today. All right, I think we got it. To secure that, but seems to be not quite enough to hold the boat here, so. All right, we're away. Hopefully all my sound is working. A lot of current, you can see it there as we're sliding sideways. In fact, I'm going to just let it drift here and see what our speed is. Get a better estimate of what our current. I computed it at half a knot based on what they were reporting, but it looks a little faster here than what I was expecting. So, well, maybe it's close. Right now we're at 0.8. I was figuring a current closer to a knot. It looks like about 0.8, which is about double what I expected. Actually 0.9, so it's my estimate of about a knot or a mile per hour. Actually, we're going 0.9 and 1 mile per hour. So it's a little more current here than, it's right at about what I estimated. Interesting, 1 mile per hour. We're off. We're going to try to continue up this oxbow. I'm hoping I can do that. Kind of a broken cloud layer, but it's quite cool. I think last time I looked at the temperature was 58, and I think the high today is only going to get to 60, so it's not going to be warm. So it's probably not a shower day, although I was thinking about doing a shower. I don't think so. It's not going to happen. We're not in a big hurry. We'll just meander our way through this oxbow until we get back to the main channel of the river. I think I'll hold off on the autopilot here for a little bit, maybe until we get into the main channel. But we're showing 10 feet here, so that's good. I won't run the camera as long as I did last time, but I'm going to try the angled here today, and then tomorrow I'll do the booms vertical and see which is the better of the two. Pretty brisk northwest wind makes it pretty chilly. Strong enough to blow my phone over. That wasn't good. So we'll hopefully keep this thing under control. Let me see if I can get it up against one of the cleats here. And I forgot to get my remote for the autopilot. So I think what I'm going to do is hook it up right now. Wind is just wind is playing havoc with me. All right, it's not working. Just too much wind. Phone won't stay upright because of the wind, and I don't know where to put it. Go down here for a ways, and I'm going to have to find another mount for this phone because it just won't stay upright. Only 3.7 feet. 3.9. It gets pretty shallow here. Wasn't expecting this strong northwest wind, but the camera seems to be holding up okay, so could have used the windshields today. Awful cold. Going into the wind and Canada geese. Let's go over to that side and see if I don't know if that. Really shallow here, 2.5 feet. I'm just having to guess where the depth is, you know, because it doesn't show me any. Doesn't show me any depths here, or I mean contours, so I can't really tell which is the deepest side of the channel, other than guessing about where it should be, based on the banks, the trees, and other signs here. So it's a little deeper now, 4.2. That's encouraging. Canada geese are in front of me there. I tried to take a picture of them. Okay, now we're at 8.7 feet, so that's considerably better. It's supposed to be deeper on the right here. I'm finally getting some depths, but I'm getting a lot of wind through here too, so. Whoops. No, that was shallow. So I'm aground. All right, I'm aground. Let's get the motor up first. Got to make sure that the motor's not hitting. Okay, the current's carrying me sideways. No, still caught on the motor. Well, we got off. Current seems to be faster over on the right, so we'll try that. I was going to take the camera down, but it's deeper here. Eight feet. But which side of that tree do I go on? I'll hug the tree. It's shallow again here, so I don't know. I should have probably gone inside the tree. 2.7 feet. Ah. Well, I went up on the tree completely. So I went to the wrong side of the tree. This is getting interesting. So the tree is on the right or the left. See if I can go inside of it. I don't know if this is going to work, but man, got by it, but that was interesting. Ran right up on that tree. 13 feet here, but you know, it's just hard to tell which side to go on, you know. Should be deep here now, so we'll get away from the trees. Challenging. Should be the deepest, but it says 2 feet. It's supposed to be over 9 feet, but it says only 2 feet. Amazing. It says 2 feet. Still says 2 feet. And there's the bridge. Now it says 3 feet. But it's supposed to be quite deep, about 10 feet here, and it's just 3.6 feet. And there's the bridge. But I'm going to go out in the river here and take down the cameras. I think that's enough for today. Well, I see that other camera isn't even pointing at me. So we probably didn't get much film there, but when I hit that tree, I suppose. All right, let's take the cameras down and hello folks, sitting out here on the aft deck this evening. It's a little cool, mostly cloudy, and the wind has been kind of blowing all day, but it's backed off a little bit, so it's not so, in fact it's fairly calm right now, but it's still cool. And so I've got my down vest on, got my hands in my pockets to keep them warm. It's that kind of a day. I didn't go very far today. I think it was like 4.5 miles. Ran into several issues along the way. I was in an oxbow where the last campsite was, and as I headed out of that, trying to get out of that oxbow right at the upper entrance, ran aground. That was exciting. Fortunately, I was going up current, so the current pulled me off, especially after I got the motor up. It killed the motor right away when I hit the bottom. Didn't hurt anything, it was just a sand bottom there, but stopped me cold. And once I got the motor up, it kind of drifted with the current, came off the sandbar there, whatever it was. But then I proceeded forward, and very shortly thereafter, there was a tree in the area there that was fairly supposed to be deep on the right-hand side, but there was a tree there, and I couldn't tell which way to go around that tree. I figured going in closer to the bank wouldn't be the ideal, and so I went the opposite. I went outside the tree, into the tree. It ran right up on the tree. The boat was up at an angle, knocked my camera so a kilter. So I put it in reverse, got it back off the tree. The current and the wind both helped push it off. I didn't get hung up, thankfully for that. So then there was I had to weave between that tree and another tree that was down, and kind of go closer to the bank. So it was a kind of weaving the needle kind of thing to get through there. And I was successful, but boy, I tell you, that one thing after another this morning made it a challenge, and could have potentially been disastrous, especially if you were coming down current. I was going up current and upwind today, but if I was going down current, downwind, it would have been a real nightmare, because I might not have had enough power to pull it off, or back off, and could be jammed up there. So got to be real careful when I'm going down river to stay away from those kinds of places. It just isn't going to help you without the current being in your favor. Anyway, I had pizza this evening for dinner, and it was really good. Had a salad to accompany that and a cold beer. Very pleasant, but it's just been too cold to set out. I set out for a short stretches and listened to some music and tried to enjoy the evening, and it just is hard to set out here. Even right now, I'm still cool setting here, and after dinner I came out and had my evening libation with some chocolates, and very good, but boy, how long I can last out here, I don't know. It's probably, the last I looked, it was right around 60 degrees, and then there's a little bit of a breeze. So the wind chill is probably in the 50s, and so it's chilly. For this time of the year, that's unusual to be that cool. But the good part is that I'm not running into people. I didn't see one boat all day. There's just been no activity on the river. The first day I saw some boats take off from the landing, but I never saw anybody out on the water until that evening. Actually, I did see one boat, but they were just some people. I don't know if they were local. Well, they had to be local. They were in a small boat, just exploring kind of up that oxbow that I happened to be anchored in. And they went by, but other than that boat, I haven't seen anybody else for 3 days. So it's been really pleasant. It was what I was hoping for, that if I went early in the season, there wouldn't be much traffic on the river. They were predicting, I think at Stillwater, about a half a knot of current, or half a mile an hour current, but I'm seeing about 1 mile per hour. It's about double what they show down at Stillwater. Not been a big factor, other than you're going slower when you go upriver. It looks like I'm getting enough solar to keep the refrigerator freezer system up. I think it was down in the 70s this morning, and it came up into the 80s in spite of the draw, and even though the day has been mostly cloudy. A few breaks, but mostly cloudy, and but the solar has been very effective, and so I'm not concerned about that at this point. Tomorrow it's supposed to be more sunny, so I'll probably get up into 100% easy tomorrow. Other than that, there's not too much going on. I see a bunch of turkey vultures around this area here. There was about 6 or 7 of them earlier, and I took some pictures. Probably not very good, but tried. Otherwise, there hasn't been much activity wildlife-wise at this new site that I'm at. There was some firewood, and I thought about having a fire tonight, but cool and it's windy. It just didn't seem like a good evening to set out. And the wind is still gusting once in a while, so I don't know if I could even set out here on the aft deck and have the tabletop fire. That's probably not going to happen. It worked out last night marginally, but it did work. But unless the wind comes down quite a bit more, I probably won't do it out here on the aft deck. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to head down back to the park temporarily to pick up my daughter and her husband and my grandson tomorrow. We're going to go out and do a little bit of a cookout on the boat. Probably I'll go up in the oxbow there that I first went the first night, and because that's within reach easily, and they would enjoy that. It's very scenic. We'll have some brats and chips and the coleslaw and maybe a cold beer or two, and then I'll take them back to the park and they'll head home. And then I've got a couple more days after that. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. I was planning to go straight up to as far as Taylor's Falls, where the dam is. That's as far as I can go. I'll have to see, because that would mean a day up and a day back before I have to pull out. If I had another breakfast, I could probably stay an extra day, but I failed to do that. Having breakfast probably isn't the end of the world, but right now I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'll go up there or I'll maybe do part of the river and try a new spot or two. But we'll see how that goes. That'll develop. I can't really make a decision until after I drop the kids off and see what the timing is for that. I sat outside for a while, but it just chased me inside. It was too cold. I came in here, decided to fire up tabletop fire, warm up a bit because it chilled me to the bone being outside. You know, the temperature's not that bad. It's about 60, I think, but the wind is blowing and the wind chill, I think, is down in the 50s someplace. So it's just, for setting outside, it just was too cold. And so I came inside, and you can see one of the things I did this year was added these, I took down the curtains and I put in these blinds that allow me to raise and lower from the top or the bottom. It's much more effective because what I found in the summertime, when the screen doors or the doors are open except for the screens, the wind would come through here and it would blow those curtains all over the place. So these blinds will be much more effective when on a hot day when I want to keep the doors open and be able to close the shades when there's light reflecting off the lake, or maybe just coming right directly into the window there, whether it's high or low, it really doesn't matter. I added those to all the windows of the boat. I'm hoping that works out really good. So far it's been really effective. So anyway, I'm sitting here this evening just trying to stay warm, and I'll read my ebooks or listen to my audiobooks. I haven't decided which. I kind of switch back and forth. Listen to some music, and in spite of the windy, cool evening, I'm trying to enjoy the time that I have here. It's been very enjoyable. I'm finding that the St. Croix River here has a lot to offer, especially if you come early in the season. It's fairly quiet, and although that can be challenging, as I mentioned earlier in some of the videos there, that and you will see some of that, it's still an interesting place to visit, and you can find quiet areas back in the backwaters if you're willing to explore and get back off the main channel of the rivers. I'll set around this evening, and it's still pretty early, so I probably won't hit the sack anytime soon, but since I can't set outside, there's a little bit, not very much that I can do outside, so I'm trying to just enjoy the inside. That happens. Last fall on Temagami's trip, most of the time it was raining or cold. It was a very unpleasant weather on that trip. That's probably the worst trip I've ever taken in terms of weather. Fortunately, the beauty of the lake and the sites that I visited were very good, and scenery is always excellent. So it makes up for that. It was some of the worst weather I've ever seen. So I can't complain just because I have a little bit of cool weather today. At least some sun is getting through. The mostly cloudy day, but there is some sun. Even right now I'm seeing it out through the window here. So that's enough for now. We'll talk to you again later.